Hey guys, Frank here, going live on StreamYard to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Going to do a little live draw here tonight. Also want to promote my Kickstarter, of course. Doing a little of that as well. I'm going to share my screen. Do a little Kickstarter pitch here at the beginning. Share screen, doing this up. All right, check it out. So this is my current Kickstarter, Warlash. It's a character I created in the 90s. We did a little mini-series in the mid-2000s called Warlash Dark Noir, which was a bunch of short stories. We did 3 issues of that, which are hitting comic stores again soon, a special signed edition. 1, 2, 3. Did a bunch of other stories, one miniseries called Warlash Zombie Mutant Genesis, and this is Warlash Cold Metal Mayhem. Again, it is a series of 3 short stories. There's a little about me, some of my credits. Storyboard artist on Bob's Burgers, Solar Opposites, Lovecraft Country, 3 Below, The Conjuring. Worked for Heavy Metal Magazine and a bunch of independent comic books in the 90s and 2000s. Asylum Press is my company, and we just a small indie publisher that we've published a lot of stuff, but have been out of the game for a little bit. But we're making our way back into comic stores. Warlash and BioBurden. BioBurden #1. BioBurden is another one shot of short stories, and this cover here, this is by Andy Hall. Warlash Cold Metal Mayhem includes work by Steve Mannion, Dwayne Harris, and myself. I'm going to be doing a story, and you can get the Warlash Dark Noir original first printing signed edition, all 3 of them. Warlash David Fout variant covers. The Vicious Vixen sketchbook, which is a bunch of drawings of sexy heroines, life drawings, villains, and just a bunch of stuff from my sketchbook. The Warlash BioBurden metal covers, you got sketch covers, variants, you can get everything, you can get the everything, you could get a bunch of digital stuff, we've got stretch goals, we've got add-ons, a heavy metal sketch cover, and a lot of back issues from Hey Minerva Yamamoto, hello, how are you? And Boss Buana, how's it going, guys? Glad to have you. I'm streaming from LA, so glad to have you all the way from the other side of the world in Russia. Very cool. Anyway, just talking about my Kickstarter, a bunch of add-ons, which are a bunch of Asylum Press comics, mostly my stuff or stuff that I published. Fearless Dawn, of course, is Steve Mannion. Chesticles and Deadly Are the Naked are 2 sketchbooks from Jim Smith, who worked on Ren and Stimpy and the Ripping Friends. Hex of the Wicked Witch is number 0 and 1, another unfinished comic book, but if you want to get the first issue, very cool. And then a bunch of Satan books, Satan Gone Wild, Chicken Soup for Satan, and Satan's Powder Room. Very limited quantities of those. That's why they're 40 signed. We don't have very many of those, but yeah, you can check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff for add-ons. But anyway, we are at 1,900 of a $3,000 goal, so we still have a way to go. So if you guys want to check it out and fund it and or share it, I would definitely appreciate it. Kickstarting is not an easy game, especially if you're indie. And, I've been out of the comics game for a little bit only because I work in animation and film and stuff, and my stuff isn't out there as much. So anyway, we'll start this little live draw. This is going to be for the Warlash comic book. But yeah, I'll do a little warm up. So for the inside of the Warlash book, I'm doing a story with this character on the cover. So like, if I'm gonna draw this robot character, right, I usually break it down into shapes. I'm just gonna kind of do a quick sketch of what I would do. I mean, the head is round, right? So just like circles. I'd get this shape for the nose. Seems like we have one. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I'm going to try to draw it a little bit different for the inside of the comic book. Maybe you should have 3 teeth or something. Nice jaw. So we're looking at a profile sketch of this robot, and we're just going to try to, figure out what he looks like from the front. He's got this coming in the back. His wings. Oh shit, I just realized I drew that on that layer. So, like, some of the stuff we have to make up, right? Because we don't really know what this character looks like. He's got to have, this down here is going to be like wires and stuff. You get to draw like a center line, just get the basic shape of what he is. And we're just going to like make up, because we're not seeing what he's there. So I'm just kind of like 2 arms. And then this is like a track thing, right? So what is this going to look like? It's just, it's basically a rectangle shape. So I would just draw the basic rectangle, kind of have the tracks in there. Draw little grids for whatever. The wheels. And then this, later I would look at some tank reference and some track reference to see like how I would do that. And it looks like now here he has 2 guns that look like they're the same on both sides. I might change that up so that one gun is different, just to make it a little more interesting. Right, so and here for this, it's like there's just a lot of metal pieces coming together. So I'm going to turn that off, like that was my reference. So let's see. I would have a sketch layer like that, right? So then I make that a little bit lighter, go to a darker gray, and maybe do like a pencil layer, right? Where I would come in and just try to freaking figure this thing out. So one tooth looks kind of cool, but we could also do, 2 teeth. And just try to figure out what kind of mech it's going to be here. Hey guys, Rezon ER, Remy Winter, how are you guys doing? Thanks for joining. I'm just doing a little live draw of a Warlash kind of villain. It's kind of like a robot. robot. And I'm just trying to figure out what this kind of character looks like, you know. It's going to be one of the stories in Warlash, which is my Kickstarter now, Warlash. Zombie Mutant Genesis, which is currently on Kickstarter. So I am trying to raise a meager amount, just 3,000, to help me with printing costs. Most of the book is done. I just have to finish up. So I'm going to draw through, like I'm going to draw what this chest plate looks like. Just going to try to figure out, like, this is like, it's always fun to try to figure out, what robots look like. And it's always like, I go back to my early reference looking at John Byrne comics, man, that stuff. The way he drew robots always comes back to me. Those old X-Men and Marvel books. You'll have some wires in here like this, just like. I don't think this thing looks a little thin. So what I think I'm going to do is like make this wider. I think it really looks right. Right. And then this track. For this, again, we got some reference here of the cover, so it's always good to kind of go back and check out what this character looks like so we don't draw it too different. We want to have some form of reference here. And then if I was going to draw another arm, see, I do this on a layer just so I can move it around, right? So this arm I probably want to make just look a little bit different. And maybe there could be a spike coming out or something like that. And then this arm, this should be like a, I don't know, maybe like a flamethrower or something. It could have a tank on it, some wires, and just be a different, should be a different gun on here. See, on the cover, he kind of has the same gun, but we're just going to make it a little bit different. And then for the battle, with Warlash, be about this size, I think. And whenever I draw, I always just draw stuff really rough, just loosely loosely draw that thing in there, just almost like stick figures. You know, just to try to get the pose. Warlash tail. Really just sketching it. So it doesn't look like much, but thanks guys. Thanks for watching. I don't know, where are you guys watching me from? Is it YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook? Just kind of curious how this is getting out there. But anyway, yeah, thanks for the donation, Ramy. I appreciate it, man. That'll definitely go towards the printing of the Kickstarter. So yeah, that's like a really rough sketch. So I almost do stuff in 3 stages, right? The thumbnail, and then I'll go in and do a you know, I guess you could call it a pencil or a rough pencil sketch. And I know this character quite a bit just because I've drawn him. But then like when you look at, like, I'll show you some of the stuff from like when other people draw him. Again, this is the Kickstarter that I'm promoting. Like look at the way yeah, Homeros Jelani draws him, which is different than the way Steve Mannion draws him, right? So it's like just let me see this. I'm gonna try to open this so you guys can see the pages a little bit bigger. Oh, YouTube, cool, man. Cool. Hopefully this opens. No longer available. Not really. Sorry guys, I'm trying to open something here. So Warlash is really like, you know, he whenever I gave them to other people to draw, like I was never super, you know, strict about, you know, how to draw the character, right? So everyone kind of took their liberties with it. So like here's that cover up close, which is pretty sick. This is by Andy Hall, super talented UK illustrator who I'm actually trying to get in touch with. Grubs, written by me, art by Steve Mannion, colors by Omar Estevez. Like, you know, Steve just draws them in his own way, which is great. I've always just loved it. Not exactly how I drew them, but it's just sick, you know? And these colors are really making this thing come alive. But, you know, if you look in the corner there, you could see just his take on the character. And then Dwayne Harris, too, would draw him differently. He had his own kind of style and take on him, which is wild. You know? It's just very cool. He draws his tail all spindly and spiny. It's pretty cool. But so when I draw him, yeah, I've got my own kind of way. But I kind of like taking little bits from each person because they all like almost let me see the character in a new way, right? So, you know, he's got the tail, which is really his spine, and you know, he's got these shoulder pads, which I like to sometimes give a spike to. but it's really like, you know, 3 shoulder pads, and then the armor, and then he's got these wires here, you know, so it's bendable. Every good warrior, he has a utility pack of guns and ammo and little packet bombs and stuff. This is his mid-torso, which when it's armor, you know, you're in there and you're always like, how is he going to move? And you look at the old Iron Man comics and they just draw it and he's just moving. But when you look at stuff like RoboCop and a guy walking around, you're like, oh, that's how he would really look and sound if he was covered in armor. Or like, you know, the way you see Iron Man in the Marvel movies, like it's actually be pretty clunky, you know. It wouldn't be so smooth if this guy was like covered in armor. Wouldn't be moving around like Batman or Daredevil, but you know, that's okay. It's a comic book. It's light. Let's say it's light nano armor. Yeah, Rami, the series will be out, physical copies, either through Kickstarter and available in comic stores in June. It was distributed through Diamond, through comic stores, so you can get them, although I think it'll be a super limited print run. But feel free to go to your store and ask about it, or ask about Asylum Press titles. That always helps us. The more people that go into their comic store and ask about us or talk about us, the comic stores will take notice. But you can always order it at the Asylum Press website, which is asylumpress.com. So, you know, this is still kind of, you know, loose in there. And then it's always good to figure out where the head is, where the ear is, you know, how this thing looks. Visor. And guns, you know, man, look. If you're going to draw a gun, look at Bisley or like Deadpool, man, and draw some crazy gun. I mean, I don't like to go too nuts where it's like not, you're not able to like physically hold it, but where it's too heavy. But man, guns are fun. You might as well have fun doing it. So hands, you know, I usually just draw a circle, and then the knife. Warlash's knife was always kind of not too crazy, but I think I'm going to make it a little bit crazier for this comic book, so I could have fun with it. And then, you know, crazy tail. Now, see, the tail interrupted the knife there, but I think it's better to have it clear it just for compositional purposes. And then, you know, scorpion tail. This tail, I just feels like I always draw it differently. And then feet. It's always good to like have him with like these just super thick boots that are like, I think you give a hero thick boots, it just makes him seem stronger. No, I think this is going to have to be like feet, man. It's not that great drawing the bottoms of feet when they're bent. Gotta look at some reference for that. So something there is messed up. I don't know exactly what. So, you know, it's kind of looking a little better. So that would be one of the poses, but, you know, I'm also trying to work out what this story is going to look like. So in doing that, I'm just going to rough out, and I like doing this part because it just kind of allows you to be a little more free. You know, this is going to be like, Warlash is going to be fighting this thing, but it's going to be a short story. It's not going to be that long. So got to figure out how to do it quickly. So this will be a shot where Warlash, you know, dodges the bullets. You know, there'll probably be a scene. You'll have Warlash come down and clobber this guy. And then sometimes when I sketch, I just like to use different colors, different layers, just so when you are sketching, you can easily see like what's happening. You know, so those are kind of two poses, but you know, I also have to figure out you know, kind of like different layouts. So let me see my layers. So like, you know, it's always good to do like the hero angle, you know. So a lot of times I'll just so you can have an idea of where the perspective is, just kind of do like a quick grid, you know, and just quickly draw this low menacing angle of this thing. Just kind of get the shapes. Still trying to learn this character where the shapes are, right? I mean, this would be like this. Arm, guns. And then you'd have another layer where is Warlash. tail probably striking in the face. Face shot. Good solid stance, right? And then you probably have a shot of, you know, this thing like clocking him. Could be from the same angle. Got to figure out what's the best angle to like, boom. And you know, this would be like, smash. And then Warlash should go back. Again, I'm just like in a rough storyboard, I'm just kind of like working out the stuff in thumbnail form just to see what could work. And then, you know, probably have a shot of Warlash going back. Just like whenever you have a villain coming in, you probably always want to have like this low angle. And then there's also a female robot, which I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to put her. I mean, she could stand, I think in the first part, she could stand in front like this. That might be kind of cool. And she's like, get Warlash, get it. As they go forward. Something like that. But that's kind of some rough stuff. And then it's always cool to have like a, I like to pose stuff out, but you know, a Warlash getting up pose. Let me check my. Yeah, have you guys heard of Zoop? Anyone hear of Zoop? It's like a new Kickstarter or Indiegogo. Zoop. I don't know if anybody has even heard of that, but I guess people are going to start kickstarting on that and stuff. We're zooping. And zoop, man, zoop. So anyway, this is like, go. And that would be Warlash getting up. robot shooting. Warlash could always get hit, but he's got that armor, so and a few armor, even armor-piercing bullets can't hurt him, right? So he gets hit. Rat. So anyway, that's kind of a loose interpretation of what the story I think is going to be, just getting some roughs down in there. But I'm going to continue this. I think what I'm going to do is kind of work on this every night because I have 2 weeks of this Kickstarter left. And I think if I come on more often, it's good for the to promote it and stuff because I still have a long way to go. So maybe I'll just do 9 o'clock every night. But I don't know. I'll post on StreamYard when I'm going to go. But for the most part, I think it'd be 9 o'clock on Pacific Coast time, which is like LA time, which is where I'm from, where I'm based out of. And then, you know, tell me in the comments what you guys like, because I know a lot of people like, you know, Bob's Burgers and stuff, which is a show that I worked on. I know a lot of people are Bob's Burgers fans, so we could do a quick Louise. Louise is pretty easy. Do like a sketch. A lot of Bob's Burgers fans out there. But yeah, I worked on the show. I worked on the comic book. So I'm in most of the collections. I did a bunch of Bob's Burgers covers, which some of them were limited edition. But, you know, this would be a rough Louise. And again, you know, I have a pretty rough style just based on storyboarding is pretty loose and rough for the most part. So you just kind of learn how to draw fast, right? So there's kind of the rough, and if I were to ink it, I kind of just, you know, make the layer a little bit, reduce the opacity, and then just kind of go in there. See, I don't know, I know a lot of people use like Clip Studio and stuff, and Photoshop is not the best program for a tight ink. What do you guys like using for inks? Clip Studio and anime, there's like an anime thing out there, but yeah, this is like, I don't know. If I go real slow, I don't know. It's just not like using a brush. It really isn't. That's why I like getting up close, going fast. Seems like it's the only way that kind of works, you know. Louise has a bottom lip and a chin, and then her hair. Usually just 3 things. Again, not totally on model, but I've drawn these characters on model enough. I like to just cartoon them a little bit. It's a little more fun. See, it just has that rough look, man. I don't know. I gotta find a new way to ink. But that would be kind of a rough Louise, you know? Ink. Sketch. So anyway, it's 9:42. I think I'm going to cruise. I'm getting a little bit fried because I worked all day. But let's do this again. Let's do this maybe every night this week for the next 2 weeks, and let's see where it gets. But give me, just check me out. I think 9 o'clock every night. And again, we'll just do another quick pitch for the Kickstarter. Again, it's Warlash, Cold Metal Mayhem, and BioBurden. #1 comics and more. If you like hard-hitting, post-apocalyptic, cold metal fiction and action, check out Warlash. I think you'll like it. If you're into Judge Dredd or RoboCop or, Batman or any hard-hitting, dark hero, but it takes place in a post-apocalyptic future, I think you'll like Warlash. So check it out. Thanks for stopping by, and I appreciate it, guys. And again, I'm a little new here at StreamYard, but I'm into it. I mean, I like it. I think it's pretty fun. But stop by tomorrow. I should be around, and we'll go. Thanks, guys.